Just took a bit longer to find my way home. Chapter 13 Through the streets and on the run. Everything seemed to happen in slow motion. One moment, he was running down the streets of San Francisco, trying to lead the doctor away from Tom and Maddie's house, and the next thing he knew, Robotnik was chasing him. And matching his speed, which was the scariest part. Sonic looked behind him and gasped. Robotnik was right there.
I grow tired of your insolence, rodent.
Sonic watched as two large guns lowered from the bottom hatch of whatever vehicle Robotnik was maneuvering. He yelped in shock and pushed himself faster as they began to open fire. Sonic dodged as best as he could. The sound of windows and cars exploding only made him wince in despair. Robotnik was causing damage. He needed to stop him, not just continue to run away, and maybe even send the malicious doctor away for good. Sonic grabbed onto a nearby lamppost and used the momentum to launch himself off and curl up into a tight ball, hitting Robotnik's flying vehicle. The vehicle was thrown out of its pursuit and crashed into a nearby building. Sonic glared at the doctor. He recovered quickly. The screams of civilians and the honks and screeches of car alarms were drowned out by the pounding of his own heart.
Ha! Nice hit, but don't celebrate for long.
The doctor pressed a button and a bunch of missiles fired at Sonic. Time slowed and Sonic grabbed one and threw it into the air before grabbing another one and launching it into the other. He watched as they exploded. The last thing he wanted was to cause more collateral damage, and he knew the doctor didn't care about who got hurt or even killed. Time caught back up and Sonic winced against the bright orange glow of the blast. He could feel the heat from where he was standing.
Come and get me, Eggman.
He taunted and ran away with a laugh. Robotnik only pursued him further, a laugh coming from him.
You underestimate me, Hedgehog. I've had you in my grasp for 6 months, studying you meticulously. I'm very much well equipped to take you down.
Let's see if you're fast enough to use your fancy gadgets on me.
Sonic said, looking behind him, his confidence and bravery growing the faster he ran through the city. He dodged bullets and small missiles with ease, trying to even throw them back at the doctor in hopes of slowing him down. Sonic turned down a corner. He needed to either get out of the city or find a less populated area to try and cause less damage. However, Sonic did not know the city well enough to try and find his way out. All the streets and signs looked the same. A small missile rammed into his back. Sonic cried out in pain and was broken out of his sprint. He collapsed onto the sidewalk. His body screamed in agony. He had to get back up. He ignored the many exclamations of civilians on the sidewalk. Bullets rained down from above and people fled in fear. Sonic quickly dodged them.
Robotnik, stop. You are going to hurt someone.
You should have thought of that before running away.
Sonic began to run again. Robotnik touched a button on the side of his goggles. A new gun lowered from a hatch. Robotnik lined up his shot. He fired, and it hit dead center. Sonic felt something sharp hit his back. He stumbled and winced in pain, but he didn't stop running. However, the more he ran, the faster Robotnik got, catching up to him even more. Sonic could hear the roar of the engine of the ship Robotnik was driving. He began to panic. He tried to push himself faster but stumbled over his feet. He fell and landed hard on the asphalt of the streets. A car honked loudly and Sonic quickly ran before he got run over. Sonic felt another sharp object hit his arm. Sonic looked down and his eyes widened in horror as he noticed a small little white cube with a flashing red light. Sonic cried out as more bullets continued to rain down, and he continued to run once more. Sonic watched as the cube began to glow blue the more he ran.
What the whoa?
He quickly made a sharp turn, avoiding running into a building. He tugged at the cube in his arm until it came out.
Don't mess with my tech, Hedgehog.
A bullet grazed his arm. Sonic winced in pain. He grabbed onto another lamppost, once again using its momentum to launch himself at Robotnik. He hit the ship at a whopping 546 miles per hour. It left a dent in its right side. Sonic quickly unfurled from his ball, landed on the side of a building, and pushed off, hitting the ship again. He landed on another building, and right as he was about to hit the ship, Robotnik dodged at the last second. Sonic hit a building and crashed through the windows. People screamed and quickly got out of the way. Sonic quickly unfurled and his back hit the edge of a desk. He cried out in pain and hit the ground. A few people approached him. Sonic slowly opened his eyes and winced in pain. He gasped, seeing a red dot on a woman's head.
Watch out!
He cried out and dove forward, shoving her out of the way. The rush of bullets missed by an inch and people screamed and quickly dove to the floor. The woman stared at Sonic in what looked like a mixture of horror and gratitude.
Thank you.
Shh, don't mention it.
Sonic turned to face everyone else.
Everyone, get out of here.
He shouted. He was silently thankful that everyone listened as people fled from the office space. He turned to face the mad scientist.
Just you and me now, Eggman.
He said with a sharp glare on his face. Maddie sighed as she walked out into the waiting room. She had just got done with another one of her patients. Ozzy was outside in the little fenced-in area that was a part of the attached dog daycare center that the vet office also ran. Tom was originally going to come with Sonic and pick him up, but with Tom having called saying he was busy, Ozzy just had to stay a bit longer. It was a nice slow day. Not many appointments and the waiting room was currently empty.
Do I have any upcoming appointments?
She asked one of the receptionists named James.
Not until a little after lunch.
James replied with a smile.
Great, I can get some work done.
She was about to head back into her office when the TV in the waiting room got her attention. It usually played the local news channel. She froze hearing the news anchor begin to speak.
We come to you live with breaking news. An unknown and unregistered vehicle appears to be attacking San Francisco, along with what appears to be an alien hedgehog of some sort. Police reports have shown that this vehicle, and whoever is operating it, have destroyed parts of Sansom Street and parts of Washington Street. The unknown vehicle continues to plow through the financial district. A perimeter has been set up.
Maddie didn't hear the rest. That was Sonic on the TV. Sonic was being chased by who was without a doubt the doctor he had been scared to death of. Maddie felt the world spin and she had to grab the counter to keep herself steady.
Man, that's scary.
James muttered to himself as he watched the TV.
Maddie, are you okay?
The other receptionist, Catherine, asked. Maddie slowly nodded.
I need to call Tom.
She announced to no one in particular and quickly ran back to her office. She grabbed her phone with trembling hands and dialed Tom's number. Maddie was terrified. Sonic was fighting all by himself. He was bound to get hurt if he hadn't gotten hurt already. She had hoped it would have taken longer for the doctor to find Sonic. They could have come up with a plan in the meantime, but they didn't have that time anymore.
Hello?
Tom, have you heard?
Yeah, this dude's tech is a lot more advanced than whatever we could throw at him. I'm out here trying to find where this guy is heading next.
Tom, you have to try and help Sonic if you can.
I'm going to try my best. We promised him we'd protect him. We're going to make sure we keep that promise.
Yeah, alright, be safe.
I will. Love you.
Love you too.
Maddie bit her lip before adding,
Go save our kid.
It was silent on the other side for a bit before Tom responded. She could hear the smile in his voice.
I will.
He said softly, and he hung up. Maddie nervously held her phone in her hands before walking back out into the waiting room where a few other vets and nurses had gathered to watch the ongoing fight. Sonic got into position to run forward. His body crackled with blue electricity and the air around him filled with unnatural static. Sonic sucked in a deep breath and rushed forward. He hit the doctor's ship at 600 miles per hour. The ship was launched into a building on the opposite side of the street. Sonic landed hard on the street's many stories below. The doctor managed to recover quicker than his opponent.
I'm quite impressed, Rodent. You're holding your own quite well, but it isn't enough.
Small missiles about the size of his hand came out of the sides of the ship and rammed into Sonic before he could even process that he had crashed into the hard concrete. He cried out in pain and tried to get back up. But it was futile as the doctor continued to bombard him before his brain could even process that he was being attacked. Sonic rolled onto his side and quickly got back up. He ran up the side of a building, fur singed, body bruised, and blood oozing from wounds. His body continued to crackle with electricity as he leapt off the building and landed on the back of the ship, digging his lightning-covered hands into what he hoped was an engine or control panel of sorts. It did have some sort of effect as the ship sputtered and began to drop. But before it could hit the ground, the doctor quickly took back control. He turned around and faced Sonic.
Get your filthy hands off.
He shouted and punched the teen in the face. Sonic cried out and his grip loosened. He quickly grabbed onto the ship before he could fall off. Robotnik grabbed the steering controls and rammed his vessel into a building. Sonic was forced to let go as glass dug into his skin. He landed hard on his back, the wind being knocked out of him. He slowly rolled over, coughing and holding his side. Everything hurt. Tears burned his eyes. Blood continued to ooze from wounds. He heard the doctor laugh. He glared at the man.
This is your fault, you know. If you had come quietly, we would have been back at the lab by now. You wouldn't be so injured, the city wouldn't be in shambles, and there would have been no need for this unnecessary goose chase.
I told you, Eggman. You're not gonna drag me back easily.
Ah, such a stubborn creature. My patience is wearing thin. I haven't even done my worst yet.
Sonic smirked and slowly got up.
Then bring it on.
Sonic ran forward and curled up into a ball, hitting the man's ship. He bounced off a building and hit it again. He then ran away, once again hoping to find either a less populated area or somewhere outside of the city. But Sonic knew he couldn't run forever. Not in this condition. It was now or never. He heard a missile being fired his way. He turned around, running backwards. He grabbed the missile and threw it back at the doctor. It hit its mark and Sonic couldn't help but whoop as he watched the ship go off course and hit a lamppost, bending the metal. Sonic didn't wait for the doctor to recover as he launched himself at the ship and delivered another blow. The ship crashed into another building. Sonic quickly avoided the spray of glass and rubble. He huffed as he landed on his feet. He ran forward again. He was growing tired. Ammunition continued to rain down. More and more grazed his skin. He was injured. He was tired. Something exploded behind him and he was thrown into the air. Sonic landed hard on the ground and couldn't help the groan of pain that left him. His ears rang and his body felt weak. He couldn't lift himself up. He could just barely hear the doctor laughing in triumph.
It's such a shame it had to come to this, Hedgehog. If only you would listen to me the first time. But it doesn't matter how far or fast you run, because I will always find you. You are mine, whether you're dead or alive.
The sound of a gunshot firing interrupted the doctor. He looked out to where the shot had come from.
Think again, you creep.
Tom shouted with a gun raised and aimed at the doctor. Robotnik smirked maliciously.
Well, if it isn't the famous Thomas Wachowski, your little blue friend has said so much about you.
Tom.
Sonic mumbled from his spot on the ground. Tom quickly approached the downed hedgehog. His hands hovered, not sure of where the kid was hurting and what to do. A red dot appeared on Tom's chest.
Don't touch him. Finders keepers after all.
Robotnik spat, his finger resting just a few inches above a red button. Sonic sat up and glared at the doctor.
Leave him out of this.
You brought in innocent people when you decided to escape.
I wasn't yours to begin with.
He needed to come up with a plan. He couldn't keep up simply running for much longer. He noticed his little red backpack resting in the cockpit of Robotnik's ship. If he could just get that, then he would be in possession of his rings again. Then, maybe he could make the doctor leave Earth for good. Sonic didn't pay attention as the doctor continued to monologue. He turned to Tom.
Tom, I have a plan.
Whatever you need me to do.
I'm gonna grab my backpack from Robotnik. Inside my backpack are special rings. When I throw it to you, think of a planet full of mushrooms and throw it behind the ship. Got it?
Interesting request, but yes.
Tom nodded and quickly ran off to get into position. Sonic stood up.
You're done yet, Eggman?
If you're so eager to have your face smeared against the concrete, be my guest.
With pleasure.
Sonic declared with a sharp grin. He ran forward with a burst of speed and attacked the side of the ship. Robotnik tried to fire off explosives and bullets, but Sonic was fast. He used his momentum to gain speed as he pinballed between the ship and the two buildings. As he leapt off a building, time began to slow. His backpack was right within reach. He reached out and grabbed it before the doctor could notice. He tucked into a roll and time sped up again.
Donut Lord!
He shouted and grabbed a ring from the bag. He threw it at the man. Tom caught it and threw it behind the doctor. Sonic glared at the doctor and put his bag down.
I'm no longer your prisoner, Robotnik. Now it's your turn to have everything ripped away from you.
He charged up. The air smelt of ozone and felt of static as blue lightning crackled and struck the ground Sonic knelt on. Sonic burst forward. a loud clap sounding mere seconds after he had run. He curled into a tight ball, and before the doctor could even react, he was already through the portal, closing in on his distraught face. Silence followed for a few seconds. All Sonic could hear was his own breathing and the racing of his heart.
Sonic!
Tom shouted, and the man ran up to him. Sonic fell to his knees, the adrenaline beginning to wear off.
You did so well, bud. Where does it hurt? Say something.
Everywhere?
Sonic said with a wince as the tears began to flow, because holy crap, he had just defeated the man he had been running from for the past few weeks. Tom went to gently place a hand on Sonic's back, but another gunshot reverberated throughout the street. Tom quickly turned around along with Sonic, their eyes wide.
I would advise you not to touch him, Mr. Wachowski.
A man in a military uniform announced. Behind him rumbled tanks and black SUVs with more soldiers following with rifles in hand. They were surrounded.
Donut Lord?
Sonic whispered, terrified.
It'll be okay, Sonic. I hope.
Tom whispered as he stared at the mini rifles pointed in their direction.